know for a fact in the year 2024, in this century, honestly, I know you're not saying, oh, I can't use a condom because it's not enjoyable. Smiling all big when he was recounting his literal cheating, his indubitable infidelity, his acute adultery. You just power through. You just drink caffeine. Hello? Do you want me to pass out in front of your parents? Do you think that would be better than me taking a quick little power nap? I fucking lost it every single time this man would open his mouth. Welcome to Worthy of Note, the podcast where one overthinking girlie shares her various musings about the world with the world. I'm your host, Lauren Carlton. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Worthy of Note. I feel like every single time that I get on here and I start recording, I realize it's been literally a quarter of a year. And that doesn't make me feel good because I genuinely love this podcast and how creative it allows me to be and how much of an outlet it has been for me. I don't even know how many people listen to this. It's almost like kind of like a audio diary, but I also feel like, you know, whoever was listening to this, like, I feel bad. they gotta wait every quarter to hear from me. I'm gonna try to do better, but at this point, like, I am just gonna jump in to how life has been instead of acknowledging the fact that it's been literally 3 months. Life has been wild. I don't even know if you can hear as much, but I am still getting over, like, my body just disintegrating before my very eyes, due to not resting enough, and having, like, probably the busiest time of my life in the past few weeks with work. Luckily, it's starting to slow down a little bit in some ways, but then kind of ramp up in other ways, and so I'm just, like, trying to prepare myself for that. But I was, like, very sick. I was in the trenches a couple weeks ago, and that's what happened. I, like, expected it to happen, so at least there was that. I don't know if that makes it any better or worse, but the amount of trepidation that I had leading up to me getting sick was wild. Regardless, I know that if I work for too long without getting adequate rest, or, you know, taking some time to breathe, then my immune system's kind of a bitch, but it's fine. She allows me to live. So I'm not gonna do too much on her, but she be doing me dirty. But yeah, she cannot handle the amount of work that I do if I don't take time in between. So that's just a lot of what happened, and I am just now starting to get over it, and still having a little bit of stuffiness and stuff like that, so please bear with me on this podcast. Other than that, things have been really going well. I think I'm starting to make some breakthroughs in therapy, which is really nice. It's not easy at all, but I have been wanting to address a lot of things, and I think they're starting to, after almost a year of being in therapy, like, they're starting to sort of come to the surface, as a lot of trauma naturally does. And so I'm probably going to be in therapy for a very long time, for several years, but it is nice to finally start getting to some of those deeper things that have been weighing on me for years now, and affecting me for a long time. So there's that. Okay, we love therapy. And also, relationship wise, doing fantastic. I am really excited for the holidays, which is, like, crazy to hear me say, like, hear myself say that, as a lot of you know, had really, for most of my adult life, have not really had family to spend that time with, and the constant, like from now, like November 1st until the end of the year, basically all you see is like, anywhere you look, on the micro level, on the macro level, and advertisements and everything, you're saying, spend time with your family, give the gift of love, give the gift of blah, 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 blah. This season with a Target Circle membership. It's like, what the fuck? What does this have to do with family? But make your coin, I guess, whatever. It's very, very, like, almost suffocating for me. It has been for years, and I usually am able to avoid it by just throwing myself into work and really trying to kind of distract myself from all of the festivities. But last year was terrible, and because I couldn't do that because I had work off for the first time in a long time, because when I was in news, you ain't getting no holidays off. It's a Russian roulette of what you do get off, if anything. And so it was hard last year, but I'm happy to say that I'm actually really excited, and I'm starting to get into the spirit because I have plans now. I have family within my, boyfriend, and obviously my sister I'm still very close with her, but she usually spends holidays with her boyfriend and her friends. And so now I do have that, and I'm super excited to share that with him and to actually get into the spirit, because I feel like I've not been able to do that for a while. I don't know what it is, but I feel like as you get older, and maybe this is just me, but I don't know about you, but as I've gotten older, I just feel like, I don't want to, a little bit of a Scrooge, a little bit of a Grinch, all right? But I'm just like, I don't even like really want gifts. I've never really been a big gift person, but I'm like, just give me money. Like, just pay for dinner. Like, I'm not even trying to, like, do too much when it comes to, like, the traditions and the celebration of these things. But I have a feeling this year will be a little bit different. I already know. But let's talk about... the current state of the world that we are in. At the time of recording this is Sunday, November 3rd, and that should be all you need to know if you are in America and you're listening to this. I'm scared. Okay? I'm gonna admit it. I'm vulnerable. That's the entire point of this podcast. I'm scared as hell. All right. I'm scared as hell. I'm incredibly apprehensive about this next week, quite honestly. Obviously, when I'm referring to the election, if you didn't know that already, then what are you doing? But I am concerned. When Kamala Harris announced her candidacy for president, I was still worried, but I was hopeful. Now, at this point, 2 days away from the election, I'm just worried. The hopeful has truly left the building, and I don't know if she's ever coming back. I really want Kamala to win for so many reasons. I think a lot of people think that, like, this is just a matter of, like, oh, your side and my side, and, like, oh, we just need to, the Democrats. It's not even that. It's literally, like, this election, so much is riding on it, from reproductive rights to LGBTQ rights, diversity, equity, inclusion, and how that is incorporated into schools and our education of our children of the future. Okay, Generation Alpha already can't read. Sorry, I mean, that's a little hyperbolic, but, like, not really. Go do your research. It's actually really scary and really sad. The education system is already very, very flawed, and these kids are suffering and need people to teach them and love them and pour into them. And that, like, is already under threat right now and in jeopardy if another candidate wins. The economy as well. I mean, I am not a finance bro in the least, and I don't claim to be one, and I don't really ever want to be. But I am aware of the many policies that will take place and come into place and affect people, like regular ass people like you and me, trying to just make something shake every single day, day by day, you know what I mean, with money. And so I want Kamala to win. This is not to say that I agree with Kamala on everything, namely her stance on the genocide in Palestine. Watching that debate, I was not a fan of how she focused more on how Hamas started everything, when this is a decades-long issue with Israel. You can't say like obviously the Hamas attack was terrible. People dying in general is just not okay. But, and like, obviously, that's such a simple ass take. It's not okay to kill, to murder. Like, obviously, okay? But I really don't like the stance that she took of like putting it like, this is, let's be clear, Hamas, like on October 7th, 2023, Hamas, and that led to these 40,000 people dying. Like, and I think also the language is being used. I don't even think I've ever heard her refer to it as genocide. And that is a problem, because that is exactly what it is. So I don't agree with her in everything. I also am not a huge fan of her support of law enforcement and the military either. That being said, I still think that she is the best thing for this country right now, when we are faced with someone who is simply unfit and dangerous, quite frankly, for this position. I know I've seen online a lot of criticism of the way that a lot of leftists and liberals and Democrats have really kind of like just took off with Kamala and endorsing her as president, and like really pedestalizing her in a way that doesn't really highlight a lot of the issues that a lot of people have with her, like the way she's handling Palestine and everything. I think a lot of people went with the like Kamala is brat, like all the TikToks, the fan edits. Here's the thing, like I just explained what I don't agree with her on, and why I think she's a little bit more moderate than an actual like liberal. But I think what people were super excited about with all the Kamala is brat, all the fan edits, including myself, was that we were just finally happy and hopeful to see someone who's not old, white, and male in such an elevated, vital position. Like I am so incredibly, I think it would mean so much to me, not even just like, this is just me on like a selfish level of like me personally, not even like thinking about these big policies that are going to affect me and others, but me as a Black woman, seeing someone who she's going to bring a completely different just energy, I think, to this position just because of who she is. And I think that is so important. That doesn't negate her moderate leaning policies. Like, we still gonna apply pressure on her, okay, if she gets that position. But I think overall, like, the overall goal is to just get her in office in the first place, which is why I think a lot of people are kind of pushing those criticisms aside for the moment. And I think that's what a lot of people were and are continuing to do until after this election, is just really giving her the support, the visibility that she needs in order to win. Because this is going to be a big feat. I haven't been like really looking at the polls very much, because I already have really bad generalized anxiety, and like looking at, I'm already thinking about it like to an absurd degree. Not really to an absurd degree, because there are literal lives and rights on stake, like on stake, so it's not like absurd at all, actually, to be anxious about this. But I'm just saying, like, my anxiety is very much heightened by this already without even looking at the polls. So yeah, I'm just really hoping for the best. I mean, regardless of what happens, like, I'm still gonna be standing for what I believe in and what I think is right, you know, standing for all people, regardless of who they are, all the marginalized people, all of the people who don't feel like they have a voice. Like, they all matter, and they will continue to matter even if Kamala does not win. It's just going to be a matter of like figuring out how to manage the effects, the very dire effects, honestly, that will ensue after, if she does not win. So I'm not looking forward to that if that happens, but we do all have to stick together if that does happen. And yeah, I'm here to support whoever. DM me, consider me, I'm gonna just be listening. You could, I got my own problems, my own shit, but I do have a therapist. So if you don't got a therapist, because therapy is expensive, feel free to, slide into my DMs, and I'll at least listen to you. You know what I'm saying? And I might give you a little word if I can. So yeah, be safe out there as well, everyone. This is definitely the most contentious election I've ever seen in my lifetime. I, against my better judgment, well, this kind of came up on my feed on YouTube. I saw like everyone, I think 73% of Americans said that they are experiencing extreme distress due to this election, and it shows. There have been tussles at voting locations, particularly by Trump supporters. If you have not had a chance to early vote and are going to vote on November 5th, please go as early as possible, because that's what I did in 2020. I went as early as possible to my polling location, so that I can really get it out the way and be have as little interaction with people as possible. If you want to avoid any sort of situation, the best you can, please go early, stay safe, and yeah, take care of yourself. All right, moving into something completely unrelated and absolutely as important as the 2024 general election. Love is Blind. So, y'all, I have been watching. If you're not a watcher or viewer of Love is Blind, totally fine. Feel free to skip this section, but honestly, I'd highly suggest, these people that I'm about to talk about, you probably have, even if you have not watched Love is Blind and you have no connection to the show at all, I highly suggest you watch it. But if you have no sort of stake in it at all, I guarantee you some of the people that I'm going to talk about from this show, you've met these people in real life. A bitch like this. Tim or Ramses. Ramses. Jesus. Let's just get into it. So, Love is Blind season 7. It was set. I'm just going to briefly go over. I'm kind of going to mainly address the reunion, because that's where I formed all of I watched the entire season as it dropped, but I really solidified my opinions of everyone after the reunion, which I like to do because shit comes out. Obviously, it's a reunion. It's a given. But yeah, so I am just going to give a brief overview for those of you who maybe have watched Love is Blind in the past but haven't watched this season. There are going to be spoilers. Maybe don't listen to this, but if you don't care, sit down, get yourself comfortable. Love is Blind season 7 released between, I believe, October, really over the entire month of October every week. Was set in Washington, D.C. Now, not everyone is from Washington, D.C. It's just more of the DMV area. So a lot of people were from Maryland. A lot of people were from Virginia. I don't even really think that there are, I can't remember who specifically lived in D.C. Maybe Tyler, which we'll get to him doing some security work. Allegedly. I don't believe anything that comes out of this man's mouth, because he said something about, I do now I work in security, operating or something like that, and blah 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 blah, when he was talking to Ashley's dad. And I was like, this sounds fake. I understand you have security clearances and whatnot when it comes to the military, which is another quality of this season that I found really interesting, but he lying. Anyway, this season was incredibly unique, I feel, in the way that it was kind of presented to us. We got a whole 6 episodes in the first drop, which I thought was at first I was oh wow, but then after a while I was this is a lot to process. A lot happened in these first 6 episodes. But also it's incredibly unique to me in the cast. I think the cast is a lot more I feel like, dynamic than we've seen in the past. Like, I feel like on pretty much every season of Love is Blind, every single character has some sort of archetype. There's like always the blonde, kind of like catty woman that is, or at least the way that she's edited, that whole stereotype. There's always like a lover boy or a kind of like softie or something who actually ends up being terrible. The golden couple who like is very unproblematic and therefore very boring, which like I don't know if I agree with the whole like if they're unproblematic they're boring. I actually really love love. I love love. I love seeing it play out. I love being in love. I love people, like other people around me showing love to each other and to me. Like I, in like different ways obviously, but I especially like, I love that romantic love. Like um my boyfriend and I have actually been going through each of the seasons of Love is Blind because I got him hooked and I'm very happy about that accomplishment. We just finished season 4 last night, and so we are breezing through. We started like a month and a half ago, so like, it's crazy. I'm noticing like I've like found myself more invested in the couples that stayed together and the couples that are like really wholesome versus the couples that like broke up or are just like very unlikable people. So I don't think it's true that like unproblematic equals boring. I just think that like because there's not as much drama, like there's less to sort of analyze and to process, I guess, about the couple in terms of like your opinion about the couple, and there's less nuance to it because if somebody's just amazing, they're just amazing. There's really not much else to say, right? But if someone's horrible, usually there's a couple different factors going into that. So I think that I don't know, like I think Love is Blind has really lost the plot, honestly, because the whole point is to find love and not have these superficial sort of factors influence you finding love. But now it's like there's people over here searching for clout, there's people over here with wives, with children, which we will get to. Like it's insane. It's just crazy. It's just batshit. But yes, there are usually, I've noticed that there's usually an archetype of every person is an archetype. There's like the kind of catty blonde who's like a little messy, a la Jessica from season 1. There's, like I said, the lover boy who like can do no wrong basically and ends up being kind of awful, a la Carlton from season 1 and Marshall low-key from season 4, the golden couple who kind of like ends up being great and like very unproblematic, like Cameron and Lauren from season 1, Brett and Tiffany from season 4, the woman who like is kind of stuck up, I guess, but really just has high standards, which is totally fine, and ends up being one of the most like baddest bitches on these shows, a la Raven and Alexa from season 3. That's typically most of the archetypes, but we saw even more. I really don't like, again, how we've lost the plot, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. But in terms of this season, it was incredibly entertaining and very interesting and brought up some very, very important and like relevant conversations. In my opinion, none of these people are likable. Except for, okay, there are exceptions, Taylor, Marissa, and Alex. If that list is too short for you or too long for you, buckle up. I will explain myself, okay? Not that I feel like I have to, but it's the whole point of this podcast. Now, listen here. All the men suck in their own ways. And yes, I'm including Garrett in that, and we will get to it. And this is not even just me not being able to, like, me being a feminist and, like, advocating for women's rights and wrongs. I don't always advocate for women's wrongs, okay? But I do know how to recognize women's wrongs and men's wrongs in the same conversation and be able to call out the men and have them take accountability as well as a woman. If she's going down, you're going down with her as well, because chances are there is something that happened to make her behave in that way that you did. I'm talking about Hannah and Nick, if you don't already know. But we're going to talk about Tyler and Ashley first. Tyler and Ashley, literally all I can do is sigh. Like, because why the fuck is she sitting here going, my man, my man, my man, when your man lied to you and the audience several times? He has 3 kids. Any way you slice it, it does not matter. He has 3 kids. Okay? Sperm donation, turkey baster aside, that first kid, he did step in as father after that child was conceived and born. So he has 3 kids. I really hated her and his explanation, really hers, because I feel like she spoke mostly for him this entire reunion, because she was, again, going, my man, my man, my man. Like, that's my man. I'm going to stick beside him. Girl. Stick beside yourself, okay? All right, the adhesive between you and him should literally be weaker than Elmer's glue. Those little sticky things, those stickers that they send with press-on nails that don't do shit, it should be thinner than that. It should be non-existent, actually. She claimed that he told her more details about the kids and how they came about during the conversation that we saw in episodes 9 and 10 when there was a whole reveal. Even if he did tell her more than what we saw, he still lied to her, because he still withheld that information from her in the pods from what we saw. I'm inferring that from what they told us at the reunion, because it sounded like it was the first time that he brought these children up during episode 9 and 10. Like this, so this was like pretty far into their relationship. I mean, it was like 3 weeks into the relationship, but like that's pretty far in Love is Blind time, okay? He could have brought that up in the pods. So I'm assuming that he didn't bring anything up about these kids who are in the pods at all. So he still lied to her. Arguably, the pods are the most important part of the entire experience. I love the pods. And this is kind of another thing, a side note. I really think people get lost in the sauce after the couples are revealed to each other and start having drama outside of the pods. But the whole premise of the show is to fall in love without seeing each other. That is the whole point. It's in the freaking name, dude. So if you're not able to reveal something as important as 3 children in that vulnerable environment, in a dynamic that is specifically meant to cultivate emotional closeness and vulnerability, then why are you here? Like, what is the point? What was the reason, bitch? What was the reason? Like, literally, why did you come on this experiment talking about, I want to feel safe with somebody, I want to feel blah, 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 and you're not willing to offer that same safety and vulnerability and closeness to this other person, in the fact that you are omitting very vital information about these 3 children that you have. Because I know for damn sure they talked about kids in the pods. They definitely talked about kids in the pods. And that would have been the perfect time for her to bring up, like, hey, listen, I have to tell you something. I do have 3 kids. He could have explained all of the ins and outs, the mechanics of everything. And that would have given her, Ashley, ample information. She would have probably been like, okay, like, it probably would have been way easier for her to stomach in the pods, because like she's not seeing him, she hasn't like fully connected with him yet, maybe like they're in the middle of this relationship, and that would have given her the information she needed to see if she wanted to move forward. And she probably maybe would have. I don't want to put like decisions in her, but like maybe she would have, and they would have had a way stronger foundation built on honesty than whatever the hell this is. I just really hope, honestly, that these kids are okay and have a minimal amount of trauma from this, because they are going to grow up. I don't know how old they are now. I just really hope that they don't grow up and see this and are like, wow, there was a point at which my like legal father didn't want to claim me. I was not enough, or I was not important enough, or I was embarrassing, or whatever. Like, these kids could literally be thinking anything. That's what I would think if I was in this situation and I had a parent who was like, I don't know them kids. Like, if them kids basically on national television, like, I'd feel some type of way. So I really hope that these kids are okay. And it seems like there's a very messy situation with the birth mother and her wife, or her ex-wife rather. I've seen some interviews and stuff on that. Y'all can go look it up. All the adults, honestly, in this situation, including Ashley, because she's now complicit in this man publicly disowning his kids and now referring to them as his friends' kids, which is insane. All of the adults in this situation suck. And that is where I'll end that. Steven and Monica. Okay, Steven, to me, this entire reunion, he was incredibly flippant with just everything, and I really did not appreciate that. I kind of found it quite disrespectful, and annoying, honestly, when he was like, hey, yo, like, and smiling all big when he was recounting his literal cheating, his indubitable infidelity, his acute adultery. This man was smiling the entire fucking time, except for when he was like, well, nobody's gonna believe me, so I'm not even gonna say anything. Well, then why were you raring 20 minutes ago when it was not your time to talk about, well, I'm apparently love being treated like a piece of meat? Sir. Anyway, moving on. Monica, I did not like her vibe in the beginning of the show, and I really thought she was a little bit of a mean girl. But she really grew on me throughout this entire Steven sex scandal. And I really admire her level of class and self-worth that she was showing throughout this experience. Can you please take your phone out right now to send me the Venmo? I know that's right. Like, she knows her worth. She knows that I am not going to carry this man when he's cheating on me. Like, no. I know she said she was going to be his sugar mama, but that sugar melted and dissolved immediately after he went to some sleep study. I mean, we had a picture, but whatever. I hope he gets the help he needs, but honestly, he really seems like a lost cause. He was also recently liking Instagram comments about how this whole season 7, was like a front for political propaganda because of the election year. And he was liking comments that were like, Trump 2024, fuck this season, blah, 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 blah. So he has learned nothing, and he means nothing to me. Go have copious sex and be anti-human rights. I just don't want to see it or hear about it ever again. Thank you very much. Marissa and Ramses. Whew! At this reunion, Marissa seems incredibly hurt for good reason, because what the fuck was that breakup? What was that? She was sliding down walls. She was like, literally, like, she was having a panic attack. Like, she was literally having a panic attack. Because I could tell, as someone who has had, like, episodes like that, like, you know, not being able to breathe almost because of something that's happening. Ramses was particularly actually triggering for me, because I have met men like him. I've dealt with men like him. And I hate this guy. I'm sorry. I don't really hold hate in my heart for really anyone, but this man, I feel like this is a really relevant and like serious conversation that we need to have. Men know what a lot of women these days want to hear in terms of like therapy speak, being comfortable enough in their masculinity to present in like a more sensitive way, or like traditionally like effeminate or feminine way. Without feeling insecure about being a quote-unquote real man. He was reading her poetry. That shit was cute. Like, I was like, he said, I want to put you in the spaces between my heartbeat. I said, if this man don't get with Shonda Rhimes on Bridgerton season 4, but no. There are men who portray themselves with all the right ingredients like this, but when you need to actually put those things into practice, the ingredients together taste like dunk. Booty butt doo-doo. Because you can say all the right things that you think we want to hear, but if there is no sincerity behind those words, there's no light in your eyes, we are going to clock that. I clocked it like towards the middle of the season when he started talking about condoms. I don't want to put it on because it doesn't feel like it. That's not true. I'm sorry. It's just not true. Like, there are literal condoms meant for skin-like feel on the market, and thousands, probably millions of men in these reviews, not saying that I'm I am a pure of heart and body. I don't know such things. But I'm there are men in these reviews talking about, and women in these reviews talking about, yeah, these are the best condoms. They didn't feel like nothing. Like, these are amazing, blah, 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 blah. Like, come on. I know for a fact in the year 2024, in this century, honestly, I know you're not saying, oh, I can't use a condom because it's not enjoyable. He wasn't even saying it's not as enjoyable. He was saying, like, the sex needs to be enjoyable, which means that with the condom, it would not be. Like, that was where I lost all respect for him. We are going to clock if you are a fake-ass feminist and you are literally cosplaying as a male feminist who cares about women and women's rights and all the things until it affects you and or your sexual appendages. And that's when you go back to the 1950s. Marissa unfortunately clocked that a little later than I would have liked, but when you're in a relationship with someone like Ramses who knows how to talk his way around his bullshit, you tend to stay a little longer than you should. So I'm not going to blame her for that. I also read the article that she did with Vulture, and that made me empathize with her and dislike him even more. She did explain that he was more nuanced in the birth control conversation, and she corroborated that, so I do believe him. That being said, she clarified in that article that they were having sex every day, multiple times, which is insane to me. Like, I understand, like, sex drives can be high. I've had a high sex drive, like, whatever, but every day, multiple times a day. She said they were having sex every day, multiple times, and the conversation that they had while she was PMSing took place literally one day after they last had sex. One day. So he can't keep it in his pants or jerk off for one day. One day. Now, again, having a high sex drive is totally fine. A lot of people are very sexual. We have sexual needs, sexual desires, whatever. There are obviously asexual people. They do exist. But even within that, there are asexual people who still crave closeness and intimacy in different ways. So I get it. Like, whatever. Get it how you live. But when you expect your high sex drive to override your partner's literal illness and their well-being, you're just evil at that point. I'm sorry. I know that sounds really hyperbolic, but you are truly just I can't even think of how selfish a person can be to prioritize their pleasure over the literal, like, health of their partner who they claim to love. Like, I just don't get it. I think it was awful to watch. And again, I've dealt with men like this. I'm luckily in a relationship with someone who is very loving and does not expect sex every single day or every single, like, when I'm not feeling well, you know? But I have, like, had conversations with, in the 3 years that I was on dating apps, like, I've had conversations with and briefly dated men like this. I also think I just see myself in Marissa a lot. She's a bit of a people pleaser, which is, you know, understandable. Me too, girl. She's also a hopeless romantic. And she feels things incredibly deeply, which I also do. And that's just the emotional part of it that I feel like I connect with her on a lot. I also grew up on military bases my entire life. I had a parent in the Navy. I was in several other family members, extended family members in the Navy. I was in JROTC for 3.5 years. So I was in it. Okay. Even with that, I cannot stand the military, particularly for the same reasons that Ramses kind of laid out in terms of, like, the imperialism and what we do to other countries. Also, because I grew up in the military, there's just such an arbitrary hierarchy of command. And there's, like, just a lot of hoity-toity traditions and practices, like, just like, you can't fraternize with enlisted people if you're an officer and vice versa. It's just like, what the fuck? We're all serving the same boss. Like, it makes absolutely no sense. It's just very arbitrary, and I never liked it. I thought it was incredibly dumb, for lack of a better word. Even with all of these reasons, I still understand why someone would want to join the military, and I will never judge someone for their service. Like, I will never judge someone, because I was in it. I literally, like, was in the JROTC classroom. If you don't know what JROTC is, it's Junior Reserve Officers Training Corps. Too long of a name in my opinion, but it's like the high school version of ROTC, which is Reserve Officers Training Corps, and it basically trains you up in the military culture. You wear uniform, you do uniform checks. Like, it's kind of like a mini military. It puts you on a trajectory to join the military. Like, it's specifically to prepare you for that. There would be recruiters like every few weeks coming into our classroom who were like young people in the military, telling us like how great the military was, like all the benefits, how much money they'd be making, like all the cool places they could go, Japan and Spain and all these places. If you're sitting there as a 16, 17-year-old, you know, trying to figure out, like, looking at colleges and stuff at that point, and even before then, like, there are like freshmen who are in this program, right? If you're like 14, 15, 16, you're sitting in this seat looking at this like 20-year-old recruiter. Like, you're sitting there looking at them telling you about this thousands of dollars that you're going to be making and the allowance that you're going to have for housing and all this other stuff and where you could be going. Like, that sounds sweet. That sounds pretty darn good, you know? And they very rarely make it a whole thing of like, yeah, and you're doing all this and serving your country at the same time. Because honestly, like, if you're me and like half the other people in that classroom, they don't care about it. They don't give a shit. They just want like, they need the benefits, you know? There are very predatory practices when it comes to recruitment. Like, they are recruiting literal children, like straight out of high school, into these spaces. And I agree with Marissa. Like, a lot of times they don't really know what the hell they're getting into. Like, they just know, again, they get shown all the good stuff of like the amount of benefits you're going to be getting and the cool places you're going, and you get housing and you'll meet all these people and these friends. Like, that is incredibly appealing and enticing to a young person, especially a person who doesn't have the money, or their family does not have the money to send them to college. They are very bright, they're very motivated, but they just do not have the resources. Or there are some children who really struggle in school, but they cannot, like, so they cannot, they're looking at colleges and stuff, and like they can't afford that, or they maybe can, but they're just like really struggling, and they don't have the resources to, like, the tutoring and stuff like that, to be able to excel in school and in academics as they want to. And the military really does offer a solution to that, because the ASVAB, which is basically like the SAT for military, the last time I checked, which was very long ago because I am not in that space anymore, but the last time I checked, it was like 31 that you needed to like baseline to go into the like base line of like the military, basically. Like, the higher your ASVAB score is, which literally it's just like, again, SAT for military folks, but there is like there's like mechanics section in there, auto section or something. It's almost like a little bit of engineering, but like very base level. I didn't do very well in that section, but the higher your score is, like, the more, like, I think it's out of like 99 or 100, the higher your score is, the more choice you have in what job you want to do. If you are not doing well academically, but you do well enough on the ASVAB, which is literally a 31 out of 99 to 100, that is all you really need to get in order to just join. Typically, those positions, the lower positions that you get, the lower your score, are going to be infantry. They're going to be, artillery. They're going to be those, like, on the ground positions, because really all you need is a body to be able to fight, to be able to go to war. And that really is so bleak and sucks. And it's kind of making me mad, like, as I'm talking about it. Like, these young kids, they really don't know. Like, the military offers so much to them, and they really don't honestly know the price. A lot of them really don't know the cost of that. And here's the thing, like, if I was like had gotten emancipated from my parents earlier, like if I had gone through emancipation at like 16, which I think is the age, I probably would have gone into the military because I wouldn't have had any other choice. I don't have anywhere to live. I wouldn't have had, any financial support, like none of that. Luckily, I went through an estrangement from my parents when I was in college, and I was able to take advantage of being an RA and having RA housing and housing provided for me over the summer and year round. But if that wasn't the case, like, again, like I might have very well landed myself in that position. So again, while the military really needs to be just completely revamped, I am not going to judge somebody for their service. And I understand, like, I hope that we can hold space for those people, while also standing on our values and like being anti-war and all of that. I think you should be able to hold those things in both hands. I don't know. I don't like the way Ramses was treating her because of it, because he was like, it's the military, baby. Like, that's like, it's military, babe. Like, I fucking hated the way he talked to her. She was like, when she was like, yeah, like, these kids don't know, like, they didn't know they were going to be like killing people. And he's like, it's the military, babe, obviously. It's like, yeah, but pipe the fuck down, dude. Put a condom on. Tim and Alex. Oh, okay. This is something I haven't really seen anyone talking about, and it needs to be brought to your attention post-haste immediately. I hate the way Tim talks. Here's the thing. People can't be helping the way that they talk, but he does this on purpose. I don't like the way he talks in general, but particularly when he's in defense mode and trying to poorly veil his alpha male bullshit with any semblance of reason. He like goes into like a phonetic speaking cadence, like for example, like it's like, I am trying to see you as my wife. I really need you to understand what I am saying and I am trying to do. He drops all use of contractions, and it just starts like going into this very halted speed. Did anybody else notice that? That drove me mad. As someone who, spent a lot of their time in college, like learning diction and learning how to speak and like being, on camera and stuff like that. Like, I fucking lost it every single time this man would open his mouth. And obviously not even like the way he speaks is nowhere near as terrible as what he's saying. But yeah, it just bothered me so much. And I've not been seeing anybody talk about it. It also just makes it sound so condescending. Like, I am trying to explain this to you because, like, it's so robotic. It's so... I hate it. I'm so sorry. It's just so bad, man. This couple never really felt genuine to me from the start. I was pretty indifferent towards them both from the beginning, but I exponentially disliked Tim as the show went on. I completely disagreed with the way he was talking with her, and saying, like, oh, you didn't text me until 10 a.m., which we will fucking get into that shit. I think I just gave myself the hiccups. Okay. Anyway, I'm so mad. I'm fired up. She seems like she's very independent, and it seems like she is just not used to having another person in her life. And I think maybe she needs to, like, she said herself at the reunion, I've just been focusing on myself and work and family. And I think that is excellent for her, and I wish her the best. I think she really deserved better, and she didn't get better from Tim, that because he's not better than anything in my opinion. I like Alex. I think she needs to like mentally prepare herself to be in a relationship, and maybe not even I just think, like, I don't know, I just think her being in a relationship with Tim, like, that's gonna take some time to like process and heal from, because he seemed low-key abusive. Like, I really hate throwing that word out unless there are like, but I just, like, from the way he was talking to her, I'm using that as my evidence. Like, I just really hate the way that he conducts himself and talks to someone who he supposedly loved. Like, no. He was upset that Alex didn't text him until 10 a.m. the next day. This whole sleeping thing as well, I am totally on her side. I really did not like the reviewers who were recapping this season and talking about how you just power through, you just drink caffeine. Hello? Do you want me to pass out in front of your parents? Do you think that would be better than me taking a quick little power nap? She literally said she was talking with them for like 4+ hours. Like, I don't know about them, but like I would be like, child, do you need, like, you said you had to work later today, like, can you go take a nap? Like, I would as an older person, and I know like within the Black community it's very much like you kind of pedestalize them in a way because, you know, they're the matriarch or patriarch of the family and like they've been through a lot. Like, yes, I get it, but like y'all can go to sleep too because of that, because you've been through so much. Go to sleep. Y'all were driving for 10 hours. I know I wouldn't want to be like talking for another 4 hours after that. Like, no, what do you mean power through? I can understand if they were there for like just that day, but they weren't. She explained like they were there for a couple of days, which I would imagine if they drove up 10 hours, they were probably going to be there until the wedding. No? Like, am I wrong to assume that? Because like, why would you drive up 10 hours to go meet this person when literally in a week or however many days they're getting married? Like, no. I was like immediately on her side in terms of that, because yeah, take a rest. And she said she's tired all the time and she doesn't know why. Like, that is indicative of someone who either needs like to do a sleep study, which please maybe she either needs to do a sleep study or she needs to see her doctor and like figure out why she's tired all the time, especially given her family history in terms of both of her parents having multiple sclerosis. Like, come on, dude. Like, you need to pipe the fuck down. And he was upset that she didn't text him until 10 a.m. one day. But he's over here griping over having to wake up at 8 a.m. to get groceries. Huh? What? Please make that make sense. He's mad at her for not texting him until 10 a.m. Anti-meridian time in the morning. But he's mad that he had to wake up at 8 a.m., which, in my opinion, is not early. As someone who wakes up pretty early to go to work, who has to be at work at 8 a.m., I really don't think that's very early. There's people who have to wake up at 4 in the morning, 3 and 4 in the morning to get to their jobs. Like, get over it, Tim. For one day, he had to wake up at 8 a.m. to go hunt down groceries as if this is the fucking 1800s and he's got to go find a bear to shoot or a deer to shoot so they can have dinner for that day. 8 a.m. is too early, but 10 a.m. isn't. The 2-hour difference is not. Like, 8 a.m. is too much for you to get up and go get groceries, but you expect her to be up before 10 a.m., so at 8 a.m. maybe to text you? Huh? I'm sorry. He just strikes me as a type of person who wants everything his way. He gives Hotep as well, which if you don't know what Hotep is, you can look it up, but it's basically like a black man who is very like pro-black for everything until it comes to anybody but a cis man. So he's like pro-black men and like pro-black love, but he doesn't advocate for women in any sort of meaningful way. He doesn't advocate for women. He's like, oh, you need to like, you know, get that weave out your head, like as a means of trying to uplift them and have them embrace their natural beauty and like their natural hair and natural features. But in that way, he's putting them down which does not uplift all women. It does not uplift black women, because a black woman should be able to wear her hair however the hell she wants it. If she bought it, it's her hair. Like, what do you mean? But just like completely losing the plot. Is usually homophobic or transphobic in some way. Hoteps are typically TERFs, so they don't believe that trans women are actually women. They're like, they get some things right in terms of like being pro-black and anti-racist, but after that they just lose the plot. So that's basically what a Hotep is, and that's what he's giving me. He's giving like very misogynistic, very male podcaster energy. And not like a fun male podcaster who's like, you know, very much pro women, or like a gay male pro podcaster. No, he's giving very like, women need to earn my affection and my love, like, which honestly makes so much sense because he literally was like talking about how he tried to cuddle her when she was fucking sleeping, which is so annoying to me because Kenneth from last season did this shit too, and that made me so mad when he was like, I tried to cuddle you at night. It's 1:30 in the fucking morning. What do you want her to do? Are you the fucking like Prince Charming coming over and expecting her with one touch or one kiss to just arise from her slumber? She's not Snow White. I'm sorry. Like, that's not real life. I'm a pretty light sleeper, but if I'm really tired, or if it's a certain time of the night, I am not going to respond. I might dream that I did, and I'll like ask you that next day. I'm like, hey, did you hug, or did you? But I'm not gonna respond, or I'm not gonna have any meaningful like reaction. So no, talking about I tried to cuddle you and you didn't. Like, it almost seems like he was like, do not touch me. I don't want to be touched. I don't want to touch you. Like, it's like, do you not love this person? Like, I understand not everybody's a touchy-feely person, but like, you were touchy-feely enough to have sex with her. So, what's not clicking? I'm sorry. Timothy, I really hope that you're doing some self-work and you're really unraveling all of this very, very toxic, very, very unhelpful rhetoric that you're spewing. It doesn't sound like it, though, because I'm looking at his Instagram page, and this man's talking about, like, oh, you know, I'm just being crucified. And here's the thing. When he brought up the fact that, like, he is aware of his stature and his image as a larger black man, like, I get that, because I am aware of my image as a thickums black woman, you know, or a dark-skinned black woman specifically, even more than just being like bigger, but also, and like taking up more space, I also am dark-skinned. So I understand that, like, we are constantly having to sort of censor ourselves and be very, very careful about the way that we emote particularly when we're experiencing negative emotions. Like, I understand that, right? But I do think that he's really leaning into that, and not considering Alex's perspective as a black woman when she said that she, like, put her hand over his mouth. You shouldn't touch people, okay? Especially if you are in a very heated situation. I've never been in a heated situation like that, because the moment you yell at me or the moment you do something like me, I will, one, cry, and then I will, number two, leave. Because I cannot, like, I told my boyfriend, I was like, you lucky you're not like a yeller or like a very like loud person, because like I can be loud sometimes, I guess, but like if you get loud when you are angry or you are like feeling a very intense emotion, it cannot work, because it's just like triggering for me, like from my own trauma and experiences. But yeah, he's not considering her image of like a black woman, of not wanting to sound like be stereotyped as the angry black woman. Like, what about her? I believe her. She was trying to really make you look better and have you not going off in this bathroom when these messy ass producers are standing outside the door. I believe her when she said that. So she was trying to protect you, knowing your image as a black man. She was trying to protect you, but then you turn on her getting pissed the fuck off because she called you a little ass bitch. Like, yeah, she shouldn't have called you. Like, name calling is not okay. I understand the fact that that's not okay, and can also call him out and notice that he got so pissed when she called him that. Like, he got so pissed. I think he was more angry over, like, about that than any other thing that happened in that relationship. He was more angry about her calling him a little ass bitch than putting her hand over his mouth, or falling asleep when his family was there, or not texting in a quote unquote timely manner, or not doing the dishes. I think he was most angry about that because his masculinity is so incredibly fragile that him being called that, especially by a woman, just completely set him off. And you could see it on stage too. Like, she said, she was like, it's like I killed your dog. Like, what the fuck, dude? Calling him a little ass bitch was not okay. It's kind of funny, but like, it's not okay. But like, I really think that was the main thing that just made him just have such vitriol towards Alex. I don't know. He's scary. He's very scary to me. And I really don't like, I think the whole, like, he's really leaning into right now on his, like, social media, like, you know, the black men, like, lenient. And that's what hoteps do a lot of the time, is like, they're trying to crucify this black man. Like, I'm just trying to love you, blah, 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 blah. But not realizing and recognizing, yes, you are a big black man, but also you're not, like, that is not, like, preclude you from any sort of criticism about the way you're treating other, dare I say, black women. Like, weird, because it seems like he don't like women in general. He said, y'all want us to take you seriously, blah, 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 at the fucking reunion. I was like, wow, that is all I needed to hear from that man to know the inner workings of his brain. So yeah, I really don't like it. I hope Alex is doing better. I hope her father and her parents and her family are doing okay, because that was insane. Hannah and Nick. I'm going to start this off by saying Hannah was wrong for the way that she treated Nick. Point blank period. That's, like, she was wrong. Also, the whole I want to be famous on Love is Blind thing that Nick wrote, while gross, is still kind of true for the nature of the show, because I feel like at this point in the series, everyone thinks about the fame factor. Everyone, to at least a small extent. I mean, Miss Ma'am, Hannah Giles, you quit your job to be here, so you are not beating the here for the wrong reasons allegations either, okay? So let me make that clear. Hannah was wrong for the way she treated Nick. However, the fact that Nick was being one way in front of the cameras and a completely different way behind the scenes is no surprise to me. And that gives context to the way that she treated him. Now, I'm not saying that it was right, the way that she treated him, but it does give context and informs the audience that he was being shitty too, okay? It also does not surprise me and kind of helps me connect the dots that he was shitting on her looks off camera. Calling her a grenade, 5 out of 10. I hate it when people rate other people. Like, I think it's just really dehumanizing. That's just a side note. But, yeah, it really connected the dots for me that he was saying those things about her, because he really did something very disconcerting and a little disturbing on the Cabo trip that really just turned me off. I don't know if y'all remember. I think it might have been like episode 5, maybe. He was asking her if she would ever get work done on her. So he was like, would you ever get work done? Like, you know, on you, or have you ever had any work done? Which was just like, it seemed, maybe it was editing, but it all seemed very, very, like, weirdly, it just, like, out of nowhere, he just started asking her these questions. And, like, speaking of editing, I'm aware that I don't know these people. I don't know their lives. I should have disclaimed that earlier. I'm aware that I don't know all these people. I don't know their true lives. I don't know anything. I just know what I see on TV. But I do think there are some things that you can say that can't really be edited. Like, that's just you, my man. I'm looking at you, Tim. Like, sorry. Like, I know that, like, things are heavily curated and edited on these shows. But I also think that, like, you know, these people, like, they still showing their ass a little bit. So Nick said, like, have you had any work done? And she was like, no, like, I haven't had any work done. And she was like, but I was thinking, like, maybe I get my lips done or something. Or I don't even know if she said that. I think she just said I didn't have any work done at first. And then he was like, would you ever get work done? Like, you know, or if I, like, paid you to get work done, like, could I pay, like, if I paid for you, would you get work done? Which is so weird. Like, what are you talking about, dude? And she was like, I don't know, like, maybe I get my lips, like, haha. And, like, she was just, like, you know, kind of, like, laughing, keeping it lighthearted. And it looked like he wanted to continue the conversation, like, of, like, getting work done or whatever. But then he backtracked and he said, with the whole, like, natural women are the most beautiful. Like, I hope you know that you're the most beautiful. I think he realized he was on camera and needed to maintain that favorable appearance of, like, oh, she hasn't got any work done. Natural women are the most beautiful. Let me make sure that I clarify that. You know, when I think that he was thinking about, I really think that's a window. I haven't really seen anybody talk about this, but I think that's a window into what he was thinking about Hannah, particularly with her looks. I think he was not attracted to her. I know he wasn't attracted to her because he literally admitted it very, very, like, reluctantly after, like, he was being, you know, kind of pushed to do it by other people. But he said, I'm quote unquote underwhelmed by her looks, which I thought was fucking insane and really gross. What do you mean underwhelmed? Your the whole point is underwhelmed. It sounds like he's talking about a meal. Like he's like, I was underwhelmed by that meal. I was kind of underwhelmed by that steak. Like, I know it was pretty hyped, but I was pretty underwhelmed by it. The fuck? Or like a movie or something, and not like a literal person. Like, wow. His language on that really revealed a lot of things. But I honestly think that this whole like getting work done thing, I really think that it was meant to like I think that was like a window into what he was thinking about her looks, of like, man, like, you know, would she maybe like, you know, get liposuction, or would she maybe like do these things, or, you know, I feel like I wish that she could get work done because I'm not attracted to her. And so I just think it was really awful. And again, Hannah's not a great person. I don't really like either of them, but I do think it gives context to the way that she was talking to him. Some of the things that she was saying, like, you should know how to boil water. Like, I agree with that. I'm sorry. But you know, I don't think that she was being particularly kind to him at all either. And I don't like the way she was talking to him at all. That was hard to watch as well. But again, this gives some context. And also, I kind of feel bad for her because when Vanessa Lachey asked her, like, do you love yourself? And like, she kind of hesitated and she was like, I think I do. Like, clearly she just has a lot of insecurities, and Nick was not a good person to be in a relationship for that. And didn't seem to be affirming her in the way that she needed. So, yeah, they just two people they don't need to be together. And then last but not least, Garrett. Why did you act like that when Taylor said she didn't want to reveal her race? What was that about? What was that about? What was that about? Very sus. Very sus. He also lives in and grew up in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Fredericksburg, Virginia. Does that sound like a place where anyone of color would be? If you are, like, I'm sure there are. I'm just being hyperbolic. But like, if you are, shout out to you, and drop a comment. Fredericksburg, Virginia overall is very white. So I would not be surprised if there's some anti-racism work he needs to do, even if it's at a microaggressive level. Because he is hanging out with these two black men on a fishing trip, so it may not be an overt thing, but still something he needs to probably work on. Speaking of which, why the fuck is he chilling out with Tyler and Tim? Hello? Tyler and Tim? Arguably two of like the worst men on this show. I lost a lot of respect for Garrett when I saw that. Like, I really did not like that, because I think the people that you surround yourself with really reveal a lot about your character, and I wasn't a fan. I really was not a fan. Also, the way he was like, I think this conversation is immature. When Marissa and Hannah were going in on Nick, that really gave him a sense of superiority that I did not rock with. You are no better than these people just because you got married. You are on the same show as them. Okay? Y'all are on the same show. This is just such an immature conversation. I'm just above this. What? Sir, you are on national television as well with your long ass Lord Farquaad head. You are literally on the same show, trying to, I'm assuming, capitalize off of whatever fame you're getting by also being in a successful relationship with a beautiful woman. You are not above anything, so stop acting like you are. Please. Please and thanks. That's really all I have. I was gonna talk about something else, but It's been like an hour and a half now of recording, and I don't want to I kind of think this could stand alone by itself, because I talked about a lot of, like, even though it was Love is Blind focus, there was a lot of variety, I guess, in the topics covered. So I'm hoping that you all are staying safe ahead of this election. Please take care of yourselves, both ahead of and after. I want you all to be safe and feel at peace somewhat, because regardless of what happens, we're all going to stick together, and there will always be people who are in your corner, including me. With that, I will see you guys. I'm not going to say next week, because I love myself, and I don't want to disappoint myself in the future. So I will say, I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.